Hello, it's Duncan. I've been a JetBrains fan for many years, and, full disclosure, they give me free access to their tools as a Google developer expert. Recently though, fellow GDE and author Uberto Barbini has been writing Kotlin not in IntelliJ, but using Cursor, the AI code editor. Based on VSCode, what Cursor lacks in specific Kotlin support, it makes up for with fantastic LLM integration. So today I'm pairing with Uberto, or rather, talking to him while he pairs with Cursor.
If you must do this damn fool thing, don't do it in this damn fool way. Uberto, welcome to Pairing with Duncan. Lovely to see you again.
Right.
So for those people who don't know, Uberto, I interviewed you a while back on GoTo's book club about your book published only last year. Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
An
Yes.
excellent book. I mean, I found it a challenging read because you are obviously more au fait with sort of functional programming than I am, but I learned a lot. And in particular, I learned reader and writer monad. So that was the thing for me. Now, Alberta, you've been playing with AI, you've been using AI and talking about it, writing about it for quite a long time now. And we had a little discussion on LinkedIn, I think, around a post of yours that said you've been doing TDD with AI, and you had a nice workflow that worked for you in Kotlin, and we're both Kotlin developers largely, and with Cursor. And I'm not a Cursor developer. I use JetBrains IntelliJ, and so we discussed it and thought that it would be good for me and good for you to play with this stuff and see how it goes and learn a sort of TDD workflow with LLMs. Does that suit you?
Yes. So basically, just a very quick introduction. I'm also not the expert. I mean, Cursor is based on Visual Studio Code, and I'm not the VS Code expert. So probably someone else can point me my errors. But still, I found quite useful. And I also find quite useful when working with this model. For example, I couldn't get a lot of, at least uh, personally, with the Copilot, didn't work really well for me. I mean, when the times that he got what I was thinking is very nice, but the other times didn't get, so I needed to go back or stuff like that. At the end, I lose my line of thought, so at the end, I disable. Instead, the cursor approach using the composer that I'm going to show, it's working very well for me, but I discovered that the best way for me is to do very strict TDD. So every time it got kind of confused, I can just hold back the last commit and restart from there. And then it's not like rely on asking the AI to do work for you or stuff like that. But it's improving a lot of productivity because a lot of a boilerplate code or stuff like that, it can do much faster, basically. It's like having a very junior peer that doesn't understand, but is very polite and he listens what you're saying, and he can type incredibly fast.
So I think you set up a Cursor project. Should we try sharing a
Yes.
screen and go from there? I can see that brilliantly. It's very clear. And actually, I've got to say, visually, if you hadn't told me this was Cursor, I would have said it was IntelliJ.
I mean, the new IntelliJ is very similar. So when you start is like this. So you open this one. Yes, the AI panel.
Okay, so yes. So as with IntelliJ giving us AI assist, not the right-hand side. I personally sort of still have a difficulty. Like I think workflows should be from left to right, at least for me. And so if I feel like if I'm typing away, I want to type it on the left-hand side so that it makes changes happen on the right-hand side. Always have that mental model and then have trouble with chatting being on the right-hand side.
It's not a bad idea. Now that is my main interface is probably should go on the left side. It's only that I have no idea, but probably is. I'm pretty sure that is possible. No idea. But anyway, just that so. Okay, this is a kind of a small project with that.
Did you generate? Did Cursor
Uh,
generate all of this code, or did you
yeah,
give it a
yeah,
skeleton?
exactly. I mean, okay. So you say hello world. I didn't write a single line,
Okay.
and here in the basically in the composer. Okay, so basically this is what I wrote. Can you write hello world Kotlin? So this is my input.
You see, this
Uh,
is how we tell the difference between the AI and a computer programmer. Because if you'd asked a computer programmer that question, he'd have said, yes.
yes.
You're right. It's way, way more helpful than a computer programmer.
Yes, I can. But no, it's very polite and very nice.
Mm.
Here, basically, is where you type. And
Mhm.
the composer in this agent mode, that means that you also not only suggest the stuff, but also will run the stuff for you. So basically, he
Right.
created the main stuff
Mhm.
with hello name. For some reason, decided to create a service. Probably because I also we can look at later, but basically I gave it some set of rules of how I wanted the code, so it probably took okay.
Oh, so I was going
And
to ask that. Yeah. So it suggested a bunch of changes. It will then just apply those changes, create the files for you. But how did it know that you like strict, for example?
yes, exactly. I mean, there is this cursor rules. You can put in a kind of repository or each person, and basically you put some context. It works also without that, but it's actually a bit easier, basically. And then I put this stuff on my GitHub, so you can also basically you are an experienced Kotlin developer. You don't have to explain me the basic. Otherwise, that super variables. This is because I mean, let's assume that I know how Kotlin works. I wanted a kind of functional programming stuff. I want to use HTTP4K, kind of JSON because it's nice. Hexagonal architecture. Avoid the coroutines unless it's really needed,
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
And I can
And by
see
the way.
just down the bottom there, right at the end, it says strict. So that's the reason it's decided to test with strict, which is brilliant.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And this is I want a Kotlin 2.0, JVM 2.1, and then a bit of rules. I don't want to use entity, and I don't want to use DTO, stuff like that. And so basically, it was the first step. And then I also asked him to configure the Git and Gradle. And notice that I also put some typos. He has
Mhm.
no problem to stand, so I put all the stuff. And he did something stupid at some point, and then yeah, basically also this command, like init,
Mhm.
uh, he was running itself. I mean, I wasn't running stuff in terminal. And then it
Right.
discovered that Gradle boot doesn't start, so it realized that he had to put executable flag, then try again, and then there was some other stupid stuff. But I mean, in a couple of iteration, it fixed everything.
Mhm.
And then the test couldn't run because it was in the wrong position, sus main test instead of sus test Kotlin.
Right.
So you created a directory, move the file, deleted the file, and then it wasn't yeah, this was the other problem. Yeah, I had to start the other wrapper, but it's then for some reason it decided to add this Jetpack IO in the repository, and that's something that I tell it no, don't do that.
Yeah. No. No. No.
And yeah, and then he proceeded anyway. Yeah, because he put a lot of implementation at the beginning that it was not necessary, but they said, okay. Then, I mean, automatically it realized that he wanted to use a Gradle 8. Yeah, because there was another, was my input, switch it to
Mhm.
Java 21, Kotlin 2. So he changed the Gradle version to chain. And then, yeah, for some reason, decide that the newest Kotlin version was choose beta 4. I told him, no, I'm pretty sure there is 2.1.
Yeah.
So I put 2.1. So, I mean, he has all these strange mistakes, but it's very quickly. And then I said, okay, add all the stuff to Git, and
Yeah.
and that's it. So more or less, this is the current situation. We have this task, and the test is running. And we discuss what I want to do. We want to do a kind of a special FizzBuzz, correct?
I mean, yes, as we were discussing earlier before we started
Yeah.
recording about what we could do TDD, and we came to the conclusion that maybe we should write a web service that has an endpoint where we can ask it something sort of algorithmic. And the thing that I came up with was FizzBuzz based on the number of days since the new year, whatever the new year was. So a thing that it would be easy to get wrong, that we need to write tests for. And in fact, maybe if we're going to think of TDD, we should start at the bottom rather than the top. Maybe let's not worry about the web service thing. Let's see if we can TDD our way to a function that does that thing. So let's make up the spec. The spec is going to be that we want to return a string of the number of days since the latest new year and replace, if that's divisible by 3, we'll replace it with foo. And if it's divisible by 7, we'll replace it with baz. And I'm deliberately doing different numbers and different strings because FizzBuzz is too easy for AIs. But I want to write the test first, do I? So like, I don't want to, I don't want you to be saying, create a function to do that. I want to test first. I'm interested. You wouldn't even, so I at this point would like sit down and start writing test cases, but you're going to ask the AI to write a test case?
Yes. Well, not
Okay.
the test case, but I will say that. So first, we needed to take the number of days from the beginning of the year.
No, I wanted to take the date. So to take the
Okay.
date
So
and
the
then to
given
work out
date,
that. And yes,
and then reply with what is the
let's
filter?
say reply, let's say foo, because I'm going to be mean to our overlords, if the number of days is divisible by 5, and baz if it's divisible by 7. Yeah.
By
Let's say 7.
7.
Yeah.
Otherwise, was the
Number of days. Yes.
yeah. But okay.
Ah, nice. I like the sort of priming. I think
Yeah.
it what the task is going to be and then saying, like, test for it. I think I would have said, can you write a test for this? But I like that we'll give it the idea that this is the direction we're heading in.
Yeah. This is. I'm really trying to do more or less. I mean, the same that I would do for, kind of. And basically, what's happened if you just click here or just Control Shift, you can see what it was here. And it was some test that, okay, for some reason, it thinks that is 2024, which is okay
I mean, to
because,
be fair, it was.
yeah, and I mean, at the end, we wanted that work for whatever year we pass.
Yeah.
It should also, yeah. So I don't know. Just looking, the tester seems kind of reasonable for me. First 7, 35 already understood that was it's pass. 8 should be 8. First should be 1. Last one 36.
So I mean, I've got to say, I am assuming what it's done there is right. If a junior developer had done that, I would say, oh, that's fantastic. Like you went to look up whether 2024 was a leap year, and you worked out then that it was 366 days. Those are the sorts of errors I would be making in production code, I think.
Yeah. I'm thinking, is it the lab here, 2024? Yeah, probably. Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, and now I ask some other, so changed the name of the non-lab here and lab here. I mean, I think we have more than enough tests for.
So for my little brain, I think yes, because I would have to prepare my brain for the calculation of this thing. And so I would write one test that was just the first, and I'd know, whereas it's written a whole bunch of tests. TDD for me would be write the test for the one, and then we'd implement that, and then we'd implement the next one and the next one. Obviously, the machine has a bigger brain than I do. So it has written a whole bunch more tests. That's great. One thing it has done, though, is to create a day calculator service. And it feels to me like this is just a function, right? And it can't help itself. It needs to create a service.
Yes, I think because we talked about. I mean, in the instruction was something about hexagonal architecture, but I can
Hmm.
tell you. Well, then service. Can you just assume one function? Yeah, it's kind of nice, yes,
Hmm.
following. We can do.
Very polite.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's sometimes you think I wish my colleagues were so polite to
There was
my
a
suggestion.
UK program, I don't know whether you watched it, Yes Minister. There was a line from that I always remember, and it was Sir Humphrey, the civil servant, talking to Hacker, the minister, and saying,
Yeah,
Minister, if you must do this damn fool thing, don't do it in this damn fool way. Interested. So, so we have an implementation. Has it already done that for us? It actually has an implementation now of
yeah,
that thing.
for me to accept basically. No, I mean I was thinking maybe we should start with the wrong implementation first.
Oh, you think it's going to be right?
I suspect that this will be right.
I mean, looking at it, it feels very plausible, doesn't it?
Yeah, let's with wrong function to verify our test. The point is that, yeah, I mean, it does everything itself. So it's still missing, the microphone, and this is to run the test, the Star Trek commands. And, but I will like at some point. So now it failed, and yeah, okay, it failed all the tests. So this is the wrong implementation. So now we can say, okay, let's fix the function with here expected behavior. And I was expecting this one. Yeah, but by the way, one problem with this approach, which is, I mean, I like it, but
Hmm.
is that the monthly cursor cost me like $20 a month, and I have like a 500 request, well, fast request. But in a day like this, you burn 50, or if you work like 8 hours, you can work more or less 2 days with the 500 request, 2 or 3 days.
Hmm.
So then either you should buy new ones, which are not that much cheaper, or you basically try to do as much as you can do yourself and just ask when things become difficult. What does it say now?
It's interesting. This is a different implementation because wasn't the previous one divisible by 35, and now it's saying divisible by 5 and divisible by 7.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
So it is, yes, it's not entirely consistent, but that's fine.
Yeah, no, it's not really consistent. Even I tried the same stuff twice, and
Mm.
I got slightly different results.
So,
It's
so
the
it is when you say run the build, well, it says, shall I run the build? You say, sure, run the build. And then it's looking at what that is. And it's automatically saying, oh, I can see that failed. And I'm going to make some changes. Because you
yes.
didn't interact with it there, did you? Between it running Gradle test and it saying, oh, I see the problem. I've messed up.
Yes, exactly. I mean, of course, you can stop and look at yourself, but
Hmm.
is looking the stuff until I accept that basically now it's stopping, and it's waiting for me to write the code and run the test again. For some reason, yeah, it was writing this wrong the 35th day
That's
of the
very
year.
interesting because that was the point at the very beginning where I said, like, I couldn't be bothered to do the maths yet. That's an interesting test, but they had to be right. And they were wrong, but it's okay. It's going to go and fix it. But it's now fixing the text.
Yeah, which
Because
is kind of interesting because it's like that. Also, he couldn't be bothered to do the matters for hand.
well, yeah, I mean, but we know that it doesn't do it, don't we? We know that it just says, I'm going to guess the next word in this. Okay,
It's
so great. The FizzBuzz test is passing. We should have 2 failing tests. Should handle the same calendar year in different years. Should handle last day of year in non-leap years.
and
Now
it's
this is hugely unexpected to me. I didn't expect that the AI would start using println debugging.
yes, it's writing. It's on print line to understand what's going on, and I could of course, but in this case, this is clearly wrong. So it's not the 31st of the year. So this cannot pass. And this is 35th. And then I don't know what is his expectation. I don't even know if 355 is for sure it's divisible by 5. Not sure if it's divisible by. Yeah, but of course, for sure it's divisible by 5. So this cannot be. So this test is. But let's say, yeah, go. And
so it's now running that, capturing the output, feeding that back into itself, as it were.
yes, exactly.
Interesting. I've seen somebody who wrote a Maven plugin for TDD where it did this sort of thing. You would write the tests, I guess, could in principle write the tests, but you would write the tests, and the plugin's job was to run a Maven job that was run the test and pass the test results to the AI. And if they failed, pass the error message to the AI and then run them again. And so it would take maybe 5 iterations or something. And if the AI hadn't got the test passing in 5 iterations of what went wrong, make a change, what went wrong, make a change, then it would give up. But this is different because we can see the process and we can see its sort of reasoning. It's fascinating.
Yeah. And here, for example, you decide that this is ways to change the calculation and add this. This is
okay. Yes.
And then you can tell please don't.
Please, if you must do this damn fool thing, don't do it in this damn fool way. So we believe that function is right, do we?
Yes.
Which seems to be the wrong way around, right? So we've now got to the stage where, because we allowed the AI to write a bunch of tests that we didn't actually believe in, we just took on trust. It turns out that writing the implementation and us believing the implementation is right is harder than writing the test.
In a real case, I will probably, in some cases, I would prefer to write the test myself if I know that I wanted to go definitely in a specific direction for something that easy. But yeah, sometimes you have the function more or less. The function here is very simple. So you say, okay, generate all the corner cases for me. And it's interesting that it can work in both ways, let's say.
Yes. I like the corner cases, except that they turned out not to work.
Yeah, but at the end, it will, it will. Okay, so now that everything is done, just to make sure that is not cheating. Okay, so everything is done, and let's check that. Yeah, it didn't delete the test or stuff like that. So, and we can say, okay, let's commit the work done, and just I saw that is a very good practice. I mean, to keep committing very often as soon as tests are green and.
That's fascinating. So it tried to run a Git command, had new lines in it, and it looked at the error message and went, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that." I mean, that's pretty human, isn't it? That's the thing I messed up.
It's much more human that you will expect because he got the multiplication wrong and stuff like that. But yeah, so now he always. Well, in this case, it makes sense to add the new feature, but usually at this point, I would ask, can maybe you want to refactor or stuff like that. In this specific case, probably there is nothing to refactor unless you have.
So one thing I am interested in is day number. So interestingly, like we're in the position now where you went quicker than I was happy with because you trust the AI and I don't. So I'm now in the position of code review, effectively, of Uberto and AI. And so if I was to look at these things and critique them, I would say, first of all, it's fascinating that it decided that it didn't want to create a local variable and it was just going to use a let. So this is a single expression function, which I like, right? But it's very interesting that was its solution. I suspect that your prompt that says I'm a functional developer is the thing that's maybe pushed it in this direction.
Well, in one of the things was that, I prefer expression over, I can really imagine a point where just talk without even typing. I mean,
and certainly I type so badly that just having something that reliably, when I make my videos, I say the thing that I'm typing and often the thing that appears on the screen is different and then I edit it or there is magic to make my typing look better than it actually is. If I was just able to say it anyway, life would be a lot nicer. We are running out of time. Can we come back maybe next week at some point and do this step by step. So rather than telling you what the spec is, have it do the way that I might do TDD, which would be to say, okay, given local data of such and such, I want it to be 1 because this is the first day, and then add the
Right.
requirement that, okay, and sort of build it up that way, because I think that would give me more confidence in the test, and it would be interesting to see how the code runs that way. What I think we did here was, it was acceptance test driven, right? So we started with the whole set of test cases. Whereas when we do TDD, in that sort of simplest thing that could possibly work, make a test fail, make them simple, we get a finer grained thing, and we get more confidence in the test, I think. And it's interesting that what we had here was somewhere where we said at the very beginning, I don't have any confidence in these tests because I didn't write them. And lo and behold, it turned out they were wrong, right? It was a lot easier to write the thing. So yeah, maybe next week we could come back and try going on those lines, because I have been seriously impressed by what I've seen. Thank you. And yeah, I think it would be great to try both those ways and then just feel how they're different, how they're the same.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's also interesting for me because, I'm using this stuff mostly. I mean, this was also a bit of experiment for me because I'm using mostly on the biggest and bigger project open source stuff. So, but it's it's nice, and had a good fun. And let's do it again.
Marvelous. Uberto, people should totally read your book. And I'll do it.
Yeah, you should also have a copy somewhere.
People should totally read your book, From
I'm
Objects
gonna
to
give it.
Fiction.
Wow.
It's going to fall over. You see the mess on my shelves, well, that mess is on my floor as well. So,
What?
it's really brilliant. Thank you very much. Let's pick up
By
next
the way,
week.
I never received the hard copy of your book.
Right. I will. I have a few spare here. Next time you're in the UK, I will totally just bring you a copy. Uberto,
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Love pairing with clever people. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.